my vantage point, or what separates me, is just the lessons that I take from my experiences, and I allow them to, be inspiration and empowerment versus disempowerment. And it wasn't always like that. But over the years, what's molded me into me, it's just my ability that when life hit, I hit back.
Welcome to another episode of The Michael Maloney Show, where we take you on a journey around the world, exploring the stories of successful individuals and learning from their achievements and struggles. Join us as we delve into the why and how behind their accomplishments and discover how to live a more fulfilling life. Kaden, nice to have you on today. I first met you down in Dallas, Texas. Just probably a short 3 to 4 weeks ago now already.
Yeah.
We both participated in the Speak Up Amazon Prime TV series.
Yeah.
And we were each of us were one of the, were there 7 of us that spoke?
Me, you, Janice, Mark, Christoph, and Kate.
Yeah. Courtney, yep.
Six.
Yeah, so there were 6 of us. So
Yeah.
Compared to some of the other seasons, there weren't as many speakers, but the quality of the speakers was just out of this world, man. And,
Yeah.
No, to be able to go there and meet wonderful people like yourself, that's one of the biggest and best parts about it, is just getting to enhance our circle, meet other go-getters, people who are motivated to give back and just help other people. And that's what took me back so much about you, Kaden, is like you are just so you seem like you're guided on this path to help people, and it's so awesome the way that you go about it. So I guess just kind of start by just telling us who you are, what you stand for, all that good jazz, brother.
I like to consider myself, a human like everybody else. Obviously having a vantage point. My vantage point, or what separates me, is just the lessons that I take from my experiences, and I allow them to, be inspiration and empowerment versus disempowerment. And it wasn't always like that. But over the years, what's molded me into me, it's just my ability that when life hit, I hit back. And now when I hit back, I conquer. Before, when I was younger, I would just throw a couple punches. Now I knock stuff out the park. And when people observe that, it motivates them to want to be the same. So I've kind of become like that person who motivates people that when life come, tell life, I'm gonna get something from you instead of you take something from me. And so now let's get it on, and I just take life literally. I take life like that every day.
I love it. And it's
Yeah,
dude, it's just that bulletproof mindset of like, life is here to serve me. There's so many good things going. It's like, yes, this might not be wonderful what I'm going through right now, but what can I take from it? I love what you said. We're gonna get something from it, not let it take something from us.
That's right.
And
that's right.
for anybody watching, they can't see, but Kaden, how tall are you?
6'4".
Dr. Kaden?
6'4".
Yeah. Well, and that I would have guessed 6'6", man. You're a big dude. And like your shoulder, I mean, just a massive gentleman. So intimidating at first. When I first met you, I'm like, who is this guy? Like, is he like which you did play professional basketball. We'll touch on that. But I was like, man, is this like an NBA athlete? Like, what's going on here? But
man, listen, give or take 1 or 2 decisions, man. If I would have went to Carolina instead of, and that's another thing I'm big on too, value yourself. And because my mother told me to go to a D2 school because it was free. It was like, I want you to go where it's free. I want you to go where it's free. UNC Chapel Hill offered me 2 years, and if I would have went there, it would have been impossible for me not to average 10 points my senior year. And if you do that at UNC, that's the NBA tryout, with the position that I played with my body type. So that's one of the regrets I have. My talent was on that level, but D2 changed me into a whole other position. So yes, I did go on and play overseas, but that's a small snippet of what I could have did had I made a couple.
yeah. But you know what? It's so easy. Like I've been in that spot where I think about something in my past and I'm like, man, I wish I would have done it this way, or I wish I would have went that way. And like I too, I was a hell of a baseball pitcher. I had these scouts giving me free lessons in high school, telling me that like I could go all the way and all this stuff. Like literally, they were charging other people like $250 an hour, and they were giving me these free lessons because, they called me the long-legged goose. I had this good, mechanics, right, and I
Yeah.
could really fling the ball. And my parents got divorced, and I had to move away from that town. So I was an hour away from there. So I didn't have that opportunity to do those lessons anymore. And that really beat me up for a while. There was a point in my life where I was like, man, God, I really wish I would have went professional and done all this other stuff. But at that point, I wasn't where I'm at now. This was when I was like starting my company, my first landscaping company. And I remember thinking like, man, this is all right. Like I'm working for myself. Like this is cool. But how cool would it have been to like be a professional athlete and do all this cool stuff? And at that time, I just kind of told myself, you know what? No, that's fine. That life happens, and moved on. And I'm glad I did that because it was true. Because now I look where I'm at now compared to where I was when I was having those thoughts, and
Yeah.
I'm grateful for where I'm at because now. And I believe that if I was in the position, if I was a professional athlete, I would also use that accreditation to help people. But now I'm also in the position where I've learned through what I did instead of being a professional athlete, which is enabling me to teach other people. So it's really powerful, like if I mean, yeah, like yeah, of course, it seems amazing going to be an NBA pro athlete, having all the money and the all that great stuff, but at the same time, there's so much other value, and you're probably in a better spot not going that route. It's hard to see it, right? Because we're in it. Like it's really I'm a firm believer that if we're constantly pushing the pencil, working hard, setting ourselves up so that we're we're pushing ourselves to constantly grow and not just take life easy, not just skipping through life. Like if we're actually setting ourselves up for a hard life because we're trying to do a lot, naturally God's going to put the right things in front of us to allow us to exceed the way He had intended. Right? I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm a firm believer in that, and I'm not just talking myself away from not being a professional athlete. I really believe that. And when I look at you, Kate, and I see the same thing, dude, like this huge heart, loving, caring, just an amazing guy that is driven to give back and inspire other people. And dude, you got a great track record behind you and a lot of potential in front of you, man. So don't let the past hold you back, And I'm not saying that is. I'm just, you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good nugget, miss, and it's a good lesson for myself, for yourself, and everybody that's listening. The thing is, the biggest thing is this. Like I said, at this point, it's still motivation for me, but I still have to be mindful of the contrast with that experience. You understand?
Sure,
Because
sure.
the reason is because for everybody, some of their greatest influences is family, and we're not aware of how you can be so close to something that you can't even see it. And it's the part of us that wants to please the family.
See, and
And
I'm on
how
board with that.
yeah,
I can hear you. I see where you're going.
it's the part of us. So certain lessons, when you bring them home, you got to bring them home different. You got to
Sure.
bring them home from a self-value standpoint.
Yeah.
Meaning me listening to my family, the people who I love, the people I valued. How does it feel to know that me listening to the opinions of the people I valued led to me not valuing myself?
See, and I hear you there. I see, and that's fucking powerful, dude, that you were able to identify that on your own like that. I mean, and I think you probably hopefully appreciate my perspective on that. Like, don't fixate on the past, but I get your point. Like, you don't want to just ignore it, and you want to make sure you learn from it too.
Right, right,
You
right.
know, a lot of people do. It's Tony Robbins. He speaks. That's where I first heard that. He mentions that oftentimes your family gives you advice from a place of fear, and maybe not even fear, but protection. Right? They love you. They care about you. Your mother. I mean, she birthed you. She brought you up. Right? And so it's in her best interest to make sure you're successful. So sometimes it's easy for people in those positions to be like, you know, hey, maybe not go for it all. Go for what you feel, what we know you can succeed in. And I get it, man. Like running businesses and starting businesses, they say don't be careful who you talk to before you get going, because oftentimes the energy that you get from people can affect what your outcome could look like.
Absolutely.
I get what you're saying, man. But those two things together, I mean, yeah, learn from it, but then also realize that life is so beautiful and that you're still so blessed, right?
And one of the biggest takeaways, especially me now, as a speaker, that's why I enjoyed the show or the message that you brought forth in Dallas, because to me it was like it was the intricate of it was these are the decisions that you start to make when you value yourself. You don't have to if you man, I saw some you posted. If you need to get better in working out, hire a trainer. If you need to get better, learn how to cook, hire a chef. If you
Yeah.
want to learn how to, because that's the perspective when you start to value yourself. You start to accept that this is what I do, that's what they do, versus let me
Mhm.
try to do everything. Now
Yeah.
you're doing a lot, but you're not able to get value out of nothing you do. The rich man, they say less is more. So there's a certain approach you take with things once you start to value yourself. And basketball was the greatest experience that taught me my value. I was out there with some of the I was out there on the court with NBA, people that is in the NBA now. And even despite not playing there, some of those guys would stay in touch with me. But I won't make those same mistakes when it comes to speaking. I won't make the
Yeah.
same mistakes. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna be the best I can be, and I won't allow my gift to be devalued. I won't allow my voice to be devalued. Because on the planet we live in, and it's crazy. It's just crazy when it comes to antiques. If this cell phone was a cell phone from the 1800s, if somebody found it, it'd be worth $1 million. But
Yeah.
with, with,
Yeah.
with, with,
Seriously.
with human life is different. As we get older, we tend to value each other less.
Yeah.
Our
That's
value
interesting.
decrease. Because how do I know? I go to the group homes, and it's full of women and men who older, and if their kids said, I don't have the time to take care of mom and dad, but mom and dad took care of you when you was young. So
Mhm.
they just drop them off at the rest home. So there's a tendency that as we get older, we tend to value each other less, and above all, we value ourselves less. As we get older, we don't care about standard, we don't care about expectation, we don't care about. So for me, I'm gonna make my life the opposite. I'm gonna
Yeah.
value myself the more as I get older. I'm a sinner. Obviously make better decisions. I'm gonna be more crisp in my movements. I'm gonna exercise even more. I'm gonna stay even sharper. Adjust my diet just so I could. I'm gonna value myself the more as I get older.
Do
And
you
it's
think, why do you think that is? Why do you think people tend to value themselves less as they get older?
well because they never had a sense of self value anyway. Most people don't have a sense of self value. What they think, like when a person say I, or when a person say you, when a person say me, identifiably, that version of them that they're recognizing is a reflection of somebody else. Meaning, when you're first born, you identify yourself based on your surroundings. You start to build your sense of self based on your surroundings. So, whenever you say "I," that has more to do with somebody else than it does you.
That's
You
really
understand? And
interesting.
so, and that's what people don't understand. That's why there's a difference between confidence and self assurance, because when you have confidence, it's based on what other people say. When you have self assurance, it's based on what you feel about you. And so, you obviously move from Kobe Bryant,
Yeah, I
Michael
love Kobe. He
Jordan.
was awesome.
Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, these are guys who were self assured about their game. It didn't matter what you said to them. There was nothing that you can do to cause them to deviate from their style of operating. And so, and sometimes, or in this world where self assurance is uncommon, it's intimidating. Look, we put phrases on it like, oh, he's so arrogant, or she's so cocky, or she only care about herself, or he's so focused on himself. But no, in all actuality, when you get to the point where you become your cheerleader and that's it, That doesn't mean you don't appreciate when other people cheer. It just means the condition of you being your best is not conducive to nobody else except what you feel when you look in the mirror. And
Yeah.
that's a part of learning how to get some from your pain. You learn how to become your cheerleader, you learn how to become your teammate, you learn how to become your coach. That don't mean you can't work with other people. That means when you wake up in the morning, you set the tone, and then you go to other people. And
Yeah.
yeah, but
Man,
in
that's strong stuff, dude. I've never thought of it like that. The
yeah,
self-assurance and the confidence, and how
yes,
confidence comes from other people.
and self assurance
Self-assurance.
comes from self. But
Yeah.
that's but when a person is self assured, because we live in a planet where having self esteem and be is uncommon. Because I thought it was common growing up. I thought it was normal to have self esteem, but nah. So what again? It's normal to have a whole bunch of experiences that's predicated of the opinions of other people, and that's confidence is about other people. Self assurance is about your voice in your head. And so it's so common for people to deem their experiences that's created by the voice echoes of other people to be equivalent to their experiences.
Yeah.
You
See,
understand?
so
Like you can be who you are because inheritance. You can be who you are because your parents vicariously living their dreams through you. You can be who you are because your mom or dad told you to do this and you followed it. Anytime you do those three, that's not who you are. Regardless of how good you feel doing it or how conditioned it is or how normal it is, it's not you. There's a
yeah.
greater you. But and when you start to become you, that's when you start to feel valuable. That's when you build self-value. But most people are afraid to leave the herd. They're afraid to face the opinions of, because then that's what happens when you start to break away from the family paradigm. The family say, "You think you better than us?
Yeah,
This
right. Well,
what."
and then your friends too. Like
Yeah.
I've felt that
So
too, man.
so now the fear of success kicks in. So but there's a certain breed like yourself and myself who, to cross that bridge for the sake of leading other people to the other side. because
Exactly. There's 8
because
billion people on this earth, brother. Like,
it,
you can't please them all.
the fact of the matter is, regardless of how many family members, supporting cats, friends, or anybody you lose, is so much sweeter on this side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so much sweeter because regardless of how many people is upset, guess what? It's so much. If they, I guarantee, if a hater could switch shoes with you, or if that family member that said you shouldn't do this, if you ask them, would they rather switch roles with you? They say yes every time.
I've never thought about that either. Well, man, you're dropping some amazing nuggets on there on this talk. Like I think a lot of it comes down to perspective, and then I think an overlying theme probably is, the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people. Because like we determined,
But even before that, making sure you're the right person. See, you always surround, like people say, man, there's no good people in the world. There's no help around me. There's nobody I can talk to. There's not good people. There's no help. There's nobody I can talk to. If it ain't no good people, you should become the first one. If it ain't no
yeah,
help, you become the helper. If there's nobody around, nobody to talk to yourself. Don't you know Albert Einstein had a lot of conversations with himself, had one of the highest IQs in the world. And the higher your IQ, the harder it is to relate to people. So in all actuality, it's okay not to talk to everybody. Just be like, what should I do today? It's still self-talk.
yeah,
So matter of fact, some of the greatest successes are the people that master self-talk. When you lay down and you tired, you're like, man, get your ass up, Kaden. So yes, just
that's
like
true.
yes, some of the greatest successes masters, partake in self-talk. So at the root of all success is self-esteem. A lot of people, like again, like confidence and self-assurance. People don't understand what, again, if you don't know yourself, how can you have self-esteem? Or if the self that you've identified is more associated with other people, how could you have self-esteem? Your esteem is built on the trajectory of others. Your self-esteem is who you are when you go into the wilderness. You understand? And then
Mm,
you come
yeah.
out.
Okay.
That's who you are. You understand? And nobody's gonna, mom or
Wow,
dad
that's a
is not
good
gonna say,
one.
yeah,
That's a
mom or dad is not gonna
good one.
say go into the wilderness. They're not gonna say go into the wilderness. They'll never say that because they're scared of you getting ate by a bear or something. They're never gonna send you out. It's gonna be your conscious decision. They're gonna give you all of these warnings. Oh, take it. Make sure you have it. Don't go because you might not have enough water. Don't go because it might be mosquitoes out there. You're like, okay, whatever.
What if your phone dies? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
all of these warnings and the intricate of it is fear. You're correct. Even one thing I've learned, Mike, is that even structure is dangerous because what we call rules and structure, the intricate of most people's rules is fear. When your mom let you go over your friend's house when you was young, when she let you go over there based on how well she knows that their rules blended with hers.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
understand? So
Yeah.
even your friends was still, and even your friends was entrapment. You thinking, oh yeah, mom loves me. She cares about me, so she let me go over here. No, she let you go places conducive to if their rules. If she let you go to the Boys and Girls Club, she made sure the modus operandi of their reinforced the type of thinking she wanted you to have. So
Yeah.
as a kid, you're thinking you're free because you met Joe. You're free because you met John, you freebie. Nah. All of it is just being the same. It's the same modus operandi being compiled and reinforced in different locations. And it's not until you break free of all of that that you say, so the fact of the matter is, even rules, the intricate of rules is fear. I set these rules based on the fear of what could happen to you. I set these rules based on the fear of what could happen if you didn't, behave this way. I set these rules based on the fear of what I could lose if you become more conscious of your power. So
Yeah.
now
Wow.
it's like, now it's like you have to say, I'm gonna create my own rules. Or sometimes one of the best ways to be successful is start breaking some rules.
Yeah.
Break, break. Look, I'm just telling you, it doesn't sound politically correct,
I'm
but
with you. I
break
tell
break
people that a lot.
break your
Break any
parents
rule that doesn't hurt anybody else.
break your parents' rules. Look, one day when mom say come in at 8 o'clock, come in at 8:30. If she whoop you, so what? Take it and then realize, man, I could take hits. Now you discover that you're a fighter. Then you'll go out
Yeah.
and fight for something. I'm telling you, man, and it might not sound politically correct, but politically correct is for people who have low self esteem. The the the, per-
Seriously.
the people who are committed to success feel it's about being themselves. They don't care about politically correctness.
Yep.
Nah, because there's no specific structure to success. It's about fire. It's about who want to win. That's why when I met you, that fire. I just because for me it's the same. It's always ready.
Right back at you. Same
Yeah,
thing. And you just have this wild energy, man, and it's just amazing. I love it. What do you
yeah.
think? A lot of what you're talking about is like our own perception of like who we are and our own self assurance. What do you think would be a good way for somebody listening who's like, wow, yeah, that's me. Like right now, I don't have any self assurance. Like I'm all confidence, and I don't have very much of that. Like what do you or like how do people work on their self talk? Like where would you recommend starting on that?
I would tell you, you can always build your self esteem, your self assurance. There's always an opportunity to build it day to day. But if you want to start practically, find something that scares you and just do it. Do like one thing a day that scares you. Start off small. Like for an example, watch. Here's an example. You don't believe me? I walk in there right now. So when I was younger, I didn't like snakes because I used to listen to the Bible. You understand? And
Yeah,
again, I'm not a,
sure.
I'm not going to get into that religion, but
Love it though.
I didn't like snakes. So guess what I did? There's a snake in my bedroom, literally.
Really, you have a
I have a pet snake. You understand?
awesome.
So yes, literally for that.
Literally,
That's the only
I thought
reason.
you were like figuratively for a second, but
No,
like
no,
yeah,
no.
cool.
Literally.
So
Yeah.
you went and bought a snake.
I
Hell yeah.
literally. literally for that
Face
reason.
your fears, man. I love it. Yes.
And that's the only reason. So, um, okay, so now, so for some people, they may need to try skydiving. They may need to learn how to swim.
Like a
They may
cold
need to
shower,
take a
just
cold
something
shower,
simple.
sit in an ice bath.
Yeah.
Once you start to face fears, there's an energy release. When you do it, when you go through that thing, there's an energy release, and that energy release what would now fill that void. Instead of that void being filled with doubt and insecurity and second guessing, self esteem will rise. And what'll happen is that
Wow.
will once self esteem rise, it'll propel you towards your next endeavor. That self esteem is necessary for you to be that king or that queen or that rich person, because you can't. God is not going to give you a throne, and you can't maintain it. But you
Wow.
can't be no king and you care about what the village say. You understand? And
Yeah, right, right.
every time you go the confident route, you're saying to God, you care about what people say. Every time every time you allow others' opinions to dictate your life, you saying you care about what people say. When you're a king, you can't be that. So what you're doing in hindsight is saying to God, I'm not ready for my best life.
Do you
I'm not
think
ready.
like would you agree that probably most uberly successful people or just people who are on fire and really creating something in their lives are probably just almost addicted to that cycle of here's a challenge I'm gonna freaking go after. Here's a challenge I'm gonna go after, and it's just like believing in yourself and like their confidence and their self assurance is just growing as they
Absolutely. And
take
that's
on
the
more
thing that
tasks.
yes, that's the thing
'Cause
that
I think
makes
that's
it
kind of what's
crazy.
happened for me for sure.
Once you make 10,000, you're gonna want to go to 20. Once you make 20, you're gonna want to go to 40.
Hell
Once you
yeah.
make 40, and that's the thing because you keep unlocking more self-esteem portals. It's just like
And then
this.
as more
You
challenges
unlock it,
come
you
into your life.
rise. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And so
I
that's
like
how it
that.
is. You
It's
unlock it,
literally
you
like
rise.
you push
You
yourself
unlock it,
through it, the energy's released,
now you rise.
you
And that's
rise.
it.
You go
Yeah, that's
through it.
it.
Yeah. It's like a
And that's
butterfly kinda. It looks like
right,
a
right,
butterfly.
right.
It's cool.
And that's what it means to be a lot of people say I want to be at the top. I want to be at the top. That's an internal thing. You have to be at
Yeah.
the top of you, and then your
Mhm.
behavior out here would translate where you can handle anything. So I'm a firm believer in this. I'm a big believer in self esteem. But yeah, you could just take on different challenges. Go for a walk. What's another one? Like right now, I work in a prison. The
Oh
only
yeah.
reason I work in a prison is to keep myself challenged. That's it. It's a different challenge every day. You don't know what's going to happen.
What are some of
Regardless.
the challenges you've had to endure there?
We'll say that. Look. I'll answer that question when I leave. When I leave the job, because
Yeah.
yeah, phew. And it ain't
Yeah,
even.
I hear you. You probably
Look,
can't legally discuss anything.
I will say this: it's not the inmates, it's the staff.
Really?
Yeah, it's not even. It's not even. You expect a child to be a child. But a
Yeah,
person that
right.
so yeah, you expect a child to be a child, but the person who claims they got that law enforcement, with all due respect, the military, the army, all of those forms of American correction or honor, there's stuff that goes on, and depending
Yeah.
upon the level, people cover each other. It's just a bunch of BS. But at the
It's
end
all
of the day,
there's a lot of politics. I've heard
right,
that. I have a good buddy, Matt Magoo. He used to work here in our local city government, and yeah, he's an entrepreneur too. That's what kind of got him out of it. He's into real estate now, and he finally left the police force like a year or two ago. And some of the stories he told me about just how politic ridden and it's too bad. And it's the sad part about it is like that it's all set up to protect us, right? But you know the thing that's it's an interesting that's an interesting thing about life though is like you can focus on the negatives or you can focus on the positives. That's just life, right? So like I'm not in the position where I'm the kind of where I'm going to be able to make a difference in the police academy here locally. So I'm just going to focus on the positive stuff and trying to impact the world in a positive way. And I hope that in some way, like let's say if there was like a running tick of like, okay, this is all the bad in the world, this is all the good in the world. Well, if I can contribute to the good here, even though the bad over here in the police force is right over here, I'm hoping that my good over here outweighs the bad, even though I can't change it down there. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a big believer in like putting my attention towards positive things, positive movements, positive change, because like no matter what, until the day I die, there's going to be sad and bad things on this earth. It's impossible for me to go around and fix all those things. But if I can help inspire people who are already in a good space of mind or seeking a good space of mind, and then those people go out and almost are like disciples of good, like they're just people who go around and also like me help people, that's way more power. You know, that's it's power. It's super powerful, and I think that's something that too many people do, especially as they get older, is they just tend to focus on the negatives of life. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh
Oh yeah.
wow, look what they're doing downtown. Like, look what the neighbors building in their backyard. Like, look, you know, blah 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 blah. And it's just like, let's try to take the focus from the negative to the positive. You know?
Yeah. And you know it's funny because all of that is another contributor to self-esteem. When the person who focuses on what they can control, they're more prone to have a higher sense of again, by
Yeah.
focusing on what you can control, that displays a sense of self-awareness. Self-awareness, the capabilities that's displayed through self-awareness has a direct correlation with self-esteem.
Mm,
So a person who focuses on what they can control, that's a direct reflection of your ability to tap into self-esteem.
yeah.
As the
That
person
makes
who
sense.
has some, yeah, yeah, the
Because I mean, if
person
you
who focuses,
don't, like if shit just starts popping up and all of a sudden you're like, man, and like, and I've been that person where it's like having a shitty day, just all this crazy stuff happening, and I didn't take a second to think to myself, hey, just control the controllables. What can we take from this? What can we move? Blah blah blah. You know, I let it bother me. I let it get me down, and I think it's easy to do that. But if you, like you said, if you focus on controlling the controllables, planning the night before for your day, making sure that you are organized throughout the day, and then if something pops up and it ruins the rest of your schedule for the rest of the day, just be like, okay, this is life. This is the environment I live in.
that's right.
This is what I set myself up for. And then you just handle it at the best way possible, figure out how you could avoid it going forward, and then just keep moving, right? I mean,
That's it.
that's
That's it. And that's it. That's it, man. No,
it's just
it's
that mindset, you know, just like you were saying earlier, the difference between confidence and self assurance. Now that I know that, now that I know that mindset, that hey, confidence is like what I might get from me walking in my house and my wife saying, damn, boy, you put on some ass, you know, like
yeah,
that'll
exactly.
give you some confidence. But me going to the gym and getting 8 extra reps, that's going to build self assurance. Before we continue, I'd like to take a moment to share something I'm passionate about with you. If you're someone who is constantly striving for personal growth and loves surrounding yourself with other motivated individuals, you're going to want to hear about this. Check out growthgroupinc.com. This is an exclusive community made up of high achievers and dynamic entrepreneurs just like you. It's a space where like minded individuals come together, collaborate, and support each other on their own journey to success. Growth Group is more than just a community, it's a collective mindset, a commitment to getting better every single day. We believe in the power of connection, collaboration, and constant growth, and we're confident that being part of this community will give you an unparalleled advantage on your path to success. So take a moment, visit growthgroupincorporated.com, and join us as we elevate our lives together. Trust me, this is one investment in your future you will not regret. Now, let's get back to our conversation.
Exactly. So now, and what'll happen is, it's not that you don't appreciate your wife's words. It's that that is not the condition for you to be happy. See,
Yeah,
so now
right. I see what you're saying.
that's another thing. This is why a lot of us do not know how to love unconditionally because we don't have the self-esteem to. So you
We
have
don't
to
even
have
love
self.
ourselves.
And
Wow.
that there you go. You have to have the self-esteem, the love for self because now you can look, once you love self fully, then you can look at another person and say, all right, even though they got a bad attitude, I'm still gonna love them through it. Why? Because sometimes I have a bad attitude and I still got to get through the day. See, you can
Yeah.
only see in others. You understand? So again, it's crazy to me how self esteem affects everything. But this is the difference between the success and the failure, because what the person who fails is the one who think confidence and self esteem and self assurance is the same. The
Mm.
successor who's successful, the one who's the high achiever, is the one who has self esteem. You know, Donald Trump has self esteem.
Yeah.
Bill Gates has self esteem. You understand? And to
For
me, I
sure.
have self esteem, but there's my
Professional
self.
athletes, like, and you are a professional athlete, by the way, but I'm saying just like people who are on the top of their game all the
But
time,
watch
they can't
this.
rely on confidence.
No, I beg to defer. That's the problem. A lot of these professional athletes just have confidence. That's why you hear about all of this stuff that goes on with them. See, when we watch them perform, they have assurance in the game, but
During the
that don't make
game,
during
but
the
off the
game.
court. Yeah, once they get off the court.
They're just like us. And see,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. And see, the thing about athletes is we judge as humans, we care just as much about what they do off the field, off the court, than their performance on the field and on the court. So
Mm.
when the most of the athletes, they don't have self assurance. They got they got the fans, yes, 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 and they're like, yes, I can do it, I can do it. Now when they in that dark room by themselves and nobody's cheering, it takes a drug to give them that
They,
feeling.
yeah. Unless
See,
you're like Michael Jordan, or Kobe
and
Bryant, someone like
but
that, who they have that
but
mind. Wouldn't you think they have self assurance or not?
yes, yes, yes. That's what separates them. Steph Curry, self assured. LeBron James, self assured.
Brett
Michael
Favre, all
Jordan,
those just top of the
self
line
assured.
athletes.
So yeah, that's those type of guys. They could sit in a room by themselves in the dark, and a whole bunch of people could be saying, "You suck, you suck, you suck," and they'll come out like, "Look at my accomplishments." That's it. That's
Fuck with
exactly
me.
right.
Boom. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right. That's
exactly. Like
right.
it's just that
That's
self assurance.
right. Exactly. What y'all gonna do to me?
Yeah.
What? But most people, you understand, a lot like Michael Jordan's teammates, they had a level of confidence in themselves that was implanted through Michael Jordan's self assurance. You know,
Mm.
you have a team, you have a team. That's why when you got self assurance, it's a job, because the people who have confidence, you have to through you, they'll discover a sense of assurance, but that process can get dirty. You
Yeah,
know,
and take much longer.
yeah,
Sure.
as a boss, you may have to say you suck today, and again, it might pierce their confidence or build them. But as the one who got self assurance, you got to say that, you know, or you may have
Yeah.
to say it's on today. Let's make it happen, you know. So it's the one who has that energy. It's a responsibility and a duty, man. But like I said, it comes with the territory. I think the root of all success is self esteem, and it becomes evident through our decisions day to day. You know, to the
Man, I love
individual.
that. I really I think you're onto something there, because like if you look at like all the self-help gurus like David Goggins and Jocko Willink and Andy Frisella, like they all believe. I know Goggins for sure believes in going into something that's difficult every day, right? Like going, putting yourself through something, and by going through something difficult like that, you naturally build that self assurance. Like just like a work ethic. Like oftentimes I've been fortunate to create a business at a younger age, and I'll have people come up to me and say, "Hey, what would be some advice you'd recommend to somebody, maybe like in high school or early years of college that would love to have the success that you've had?" And I'll say, get experience, go out and get into the trenches, go workplaces, go develop a work ethic because. What you're going to do, and I'm a firm believer in even like in high school, if you're not playing sports, you should be working because what happens is you okay, let's say, like, for me, for instance, I'll use my own experience. I worked at a pizza restaurant, and I'd have to work at 5. We'd work till like 9 o'clock at night, on the weekends later, midnight, whatever. But I would dread going to that work. I would be like, man, I got to work tonight at 5. I'd much rather go down to the lake and play with my friends and go boating and stuff. But I'm gonna go to the lake, or I'd have to go to work. So I'd go to work. I would get there. I'd be making pizzas. I'd be having fun. We'd be listening to music. We'd be throwing flour at each other. At the end of that shift, I left there thinking, wow, when I didn't want to work at the beginning, but I'm glad I went. I just made $12, or at that time it was like $8 an hour. I got $50 cash now. I can go to the movies. But even more importantly, I trained myself to go do something I don't want to do. I push through, and then I realized the benefit from it. I learned that, and you develop that work ethic. Just like in life, you develop that ability to get through the grit when you have that mindset of, hey, I'm just gonna freaking go through this, or maybe even better, I'm gonna put myself through something because I recognize that it's gonna make me better. Like just last weekend, we ran a 5K, my wife and I and a few friends. I haven't ran more than 3 miles in probably 3 years, and we did it, and it sucked, but that whole rest of the day I felt on fire, and I was sore for like 3 days after. But having that pain, I was grateful for, because I'm like, I did it. I know that if I am in the wilderness and a animals chasing me, I can at least get 3 miles. It's just about that. It's just I'm with you. I'm a firm believer. Like when I try to work out every day, I at least doing multiple exercises, but at least during one, I'll make sure that I'm suffering. That I am like that. I'll try to go. I'll say, okay, I'm going to try to get 20 reps, and then when I'm at 20, I'm like, all right, I'm going to get 10 more. It's just like suffering through it, because if you don't constantly put yourself through those states of suffering, you don't. It's hard to create that self assurance. Like when I bump my weights up from 45 to 55 and I get the same reps, I'm like, okay, sweet, I just did that. That's self assurance, which I think kind of works its way into confidence a little bit too. But honestly, I think they're both the same. But self assurance is self confidence, like you said, is from other people. So for anybody listening, set yourself up to do something difficult.
When you can, and again, the thing, it translates right over to your behaviors out there. You understand? It affects your leadership. A person who has confidence is focused on building followers. A person who has self assurance is focused on building leaders. You understand? And so
Yeah.
the because leaders go internal, followers has to be told.
Yep.
Leaders leaders put stuff in you on the inside to make you, you understand, have
Wow.
leadership is within, followers have to be told on the outside. So that's the difference between self-assurance, that's the difference between confidence and self-assurance. Nobody had to tell Michael Jordan at the last minute to go take the last shot. Nobody has to tell him. In fact, the person who thought to get the ball, you're gonna have a problem after the game. You understand? So and so it's the same for Kobe Bryant. It's the same for LeBron. It's the same for Steph Curry. And so you have to be that in your day-to-day decisions. Nobody to tell you to get up. You tell yourself to get up. And that's why it's
Yeah.
important to be able to tap into that energy. Get up, get some. Slap yourself if you have to. Do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Because again, no again, when you have that type of self-assurance, that's what's gonna make you an effective coach.
Mm.
It's this is what that fire is. When people need to see it on you, they need to feel it on you, because that's what's going to inspire them to become their better self. And life coaching is not, matter of fact, let me tell you something about coaching that I was going to tell you a few minutes ago. The reason why it's important to be enthusiastic and be crazy as a coach, because people may never say it, but the coaching game is a dangerous game to be in if you're not genuine. Because
For sure. And there's
the
a lot
fact
of people in it that are not genuine. I would
fraudulent
I would argue only 10% of coaches are
are
genuine.
genuine are genuine. The fact of the matter is, so a group of people sat down and said, we have to find a way to get rich, but we have to get rich off something that can't be predicted, that can't be measured. Meaning, if I can plant something in your head that can't be measured, but I can make measurable dollars off of that, then I've tricked humanity. And guess so what did these people do? They created personal development. You can't measure personal development. I
It's
can't
all on
figure
us.
ex-
Yeah.
so again, a lot of the modus operandi of life coaches does not help lead a person to self-assurance. It reinforces I'm confident as long as I have you. I'm not that type of leader.
That
When I
makes sense.
when it comes, and again, I'm not speaking down on personal development or coaching. No, hear me right. What I'm saying is, depending upon your energy and your vibe, dictates your coaching style. And
Yeah.
even me as a coach, I have people who I coach now, but I reassure them my tactics with you is not for you to depend on me. You're gonna get out there and do it on your own. When you
Yeah.
get a bump,
Right.
you get bumped. But when you get bumped up and bruised and you don't know where to go, you always come to me. But when you
That's
come,
one reason why I can resonate so well with Mr. Robbins, because he says all the time, I am not your guru. It's all in you. Like, this is all you. And I think even he probably sometimes, you know, toggles on the confidence, but at the same time, he does do a good job of asking the right questions and creating the right exercises to make you look inward.
right,
Yeah.
right, and again, here, and don't get me wrong, brother. It's. I'm not speaking as if confidence is right or wrong because it all has its place. You know, before, you don't just give a baby steak. You know, you give them something soft first, and then eventually they'll be able to chew. And then so it kind of works that way with confidence and self-esteem.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
of us, there's no human on the world on the planet who can dodge confidence. When you was born, you developed a sense of self based on watching your environment, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, and now so that's when you're building confidence. You're becoming confident in that definition of self, but that's still based on other people.
Other people. Yeah.
Nobody can dodge that. No human can dodge
True.
that.
Yeah.
What you can do is what's going to happen is you're going to get at a peak level of defining self by others, and then life is going to hit you because something in you is going to say something's more. There's something more out there. There's something I haven't experienced. I feel like there's a passion I feel and I want to go try it. That's when you're going to have to discover self, the true self. Now, most people, when they get to that bridge, which is between about 20, 22, 21, 22, 23, when your desires start kicking in, it becomes programmed to please others so much that they have a hard time making those decisions. And that's where leadership comes in. I'm gonna push your sorry ass across the finish line. I'm gonna push you
Oh,
to,
yeah.
and I'm just telling you straight up,
Well,
excuse me.
and
And it
is
may
it
not sound
true?
politically correct.
If you look at somebody who doesn't have confidence or self assurance, it almost would make sense that confidence is kind of like the fire starter. Like, you would have to say, hey, man, like, I can see from the outside that you are a able person. You're smart. You're whatever. You got things going for you. And then the confidence, if from a coaching standpoint, might get the person to start to put themselves into the situation where they can start to grow their self assurance. So it's kind of interesting. Uh,
It works.
but
It work. It definitely works hand in hand.
for sure,
But it's important that as a coach, but more importantly as a person, you can decipher the difference between the two. You understand? Because it becomes a big mishap along the lines of growth and development when someone is thinking that they really believe in themselves more than what they do, because that's what causes suicide. Because now you've built this whole life with this persona. Then when the truth smack you in the face that you ain't what you thought, you can't bear the outcome of that reality. You can't bear the pressure. Now you done build up this more expectation out of the community based on a sense of self that's not even true.
yeah,
Now you need to find something to help you escape the social pressure that's created by the thoughts of you not being who they believe you are, who you spent your entire life believing you are. And now when those two clash, it creates a discomfort within that makes I can't deal with this. Now you got to
yeah,
find a stimulant to help you escape that reality. So again, it's important to identify. Yes, both of them work together, but it's important to identify that, look, a bottle is a bottle, steak is steak. You don't want you don't, we ain't gonna crush steak up and put it in a bottle. We gonna let steak be steak and put it on a plate where it looks good and juicy, and we gonna let a bottle be a bottle. You at the steak level now, and it
Mm.
ain't no excuses for you to be 30 years old and still got your mouth in your mother's breast.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, yep, yep. So what do you think? What do you, so obviously self assurance is the golden nugget. Like that's what people should be seeking. That's what we should be working for. That's what we should be trying to grow and enhance every single day. I know you've kind of touched on how to do it, but just to make it crystal clear for the listeners, if somebody listening is like, man, I feel like I'm a confident person, but when it comes to self assurance, if I went on that camping trip in the wilderness by myself, I wouldn't feel real good about myself out there. What could someone in that kind of position do to kind of start working on stepping up the ladder of self assurance?
Again, I would like I said, write down the fears and try some. And small stuff. Go back to childhood. I mean, brother, when I was young, I always wanted a motor scooter, just a motor scooter, but I feared speed. You understand? Seen too many car accidents, seen
Sure.
drive-bys, getaways, so I feared speed, and I've even gotten in a couple car accidents as an adult. So what I did is I bought a motor scooter. So guys like, man, you too old for that. You should have a motorcycle. You're older now. And I bought the shit a couple years ago.
Awesome.
Now, yeah. So now you catch me riding around town on a motor scooter,
Like a
but
moped, right?
that's it.
Dude, you're
That's
a
the
big dude. That's got to be like a moped
yeah.
XL.
That's what I'm saying. But
I
but
love
but
it.
but every time I get on it, it does something in here. And it's like,
Mm,
so now when I get off of it, I go in the house and start working. Now then some new ideas came in. So it's like
wow.
go all the way back. Even if it's look, I wanted these toys when I was a kid. Go buy the toys. Even as an adult, go buy the toys. Now if you got kids, play with them and then give them to your kids.
There you
But
go.
yes, literally.
Like, let's say you're scared of the dark, man. Just go into the closet and set a timer for 1 minute and just stand there in the dark. And then come out and you're like, man, I just did that. And then the next day do it for 3 minutes or whatever and just get used to the dark. It's like simple things like that.
And
Uh,
what'll happen is go swimming. That's a big one. Fears drowning. What's another one? Exercise. Just the discomfort of exercise, and that's the beauty of exercising.
I agree.
Exercise is one of those things that is a practical activity day to day where we have to face fears. We have to face the fear that we're gonna be fat. We have to face the fear that we might not look as handsome as we want to. We have to face these fears of being compared to others in the environment that in the same room as us. So yes, just I would say to people, just find a fear and face it. Picking up. So now when I go feed the snake, guess what I got to go get? Rats.
I don't like rats either.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, you understand? And I gotta go, and this then the cage for the snake is in the room that I sleep. So now when I wake up in the morning, or sometimes, especially when I gotta feed the snake, and I hit a rat, I'm like, hey. So, but now when I leave the house, I'm like, man, what's get some,
Get some.
yeah, and that mindset has to be maintained day to day. Like I said, it's just being a warrior is just as important. This is why most people experience post traumatic stress because when you go off and you're used to hearing gunshots and fighting, and now you get to peace, you still hear that. So you must create a challenge for yourself so your outside is synonymous to your mindset. Because
Hmm.
when what you see out here is not as synonymous to within here, it's going to create stress. The lack of blendedness between the two. So when you're a warrior, you must stand to fight.
So you're saying you got to create a mindset of like, okay, you got to find a way to get some from the experience, right? Is that what you're saying? Like if you were a war veteran You have to, instead of looking at it as a negative thing, figure out how to be grateful for it so that it doesn't affect you. Is that what you're saying, basically?
What I'm saying is, if you've been in war, that means you're a warrior. Warriors
You've
fight
seen
to
some
the
shit. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Warriors fight. Warriors fight till they die. So when you're a warrior, you never go back to peace. What you do is
Gotcha.
you go to a different environment, and you find another cause to fight for. The problem with the warrior, the problem with the post traumatic stress, because they built this warrior mindset. Now they laying in bed every night. Nah, you can't do that. You have to
Yeah,
find something else to fight for so the warrior can be
gotcha.
ignited. You have to understand when you have certain instincts has to be maintained. Self-esteem has to be maintained. Work ethic has to be maintained. Fitness, your body has to be maintaining it is just as important as having it. And so when you're a warrior, you have to maintain that. And that's what that daily practice. That's why them 30 minutes a day of exercise, because that's what maintains the warrior. It's just as important as knowing how to maintain something as it is to have it. You
Wow.
understand? When you're a king, you in the fight. When you're a prince, you in the fight. When you a hater, that's when you can do it. That's when you can sleep and criticize and have an opinion. But when you a king, when you a warrior, when you a beast, you out there getting it. You hunting. You understand? And that's the thing in people's mind, that's what they are. So you got to make sure your habits and your actions line up with that. Because if not, if there's a gap between actions and mindset, stress, discomfort, post-traumatic stress disorder. When you're a warrior, you got to stand and fight. And so you better create a fight where you at. Even if I fight for my business, I fight to
Yeah.
keep my family. Yeah, so you got to,
Yeah.
that's how the
Fight to
warrior,
serve or whatever it is. Yeah.
whatever,
Just find
whatever.
something to fight for. Yeah.
Yes. That's the problem when a warrior pulls out of the fight, because warriors fight till they die. So if you don't stay in the fight, then you're gonna self kill. You understand? You're gonna start to,
Unreal.
yeah. You gotta stay in the fight, man, and that's why. And again, all of this stuff ties in, brother. All of it, and believe me, the people who's been to war, their self esteem, the stuff that they've accomplished is like, or seen is like. But the second they don't stay in that, meaning keep releasing more self esteem capsules, it can, you understand, because that's why it's important to release self esteem capsules, because if not, like for me and you, it can go like this. But for others, it can go like,
Yeah.
meaning self-destruct.
Yeah.
You understand? Because
Totally.
you don't allow yourself to make decisions out here that's in alignment with your expectation in here. So now,
Well, and I've fallen out of state, man. Like, there's been times where I'm like going to that complacent mindset or focus on the wrong aspect of a situation, and then I go down too. So it's like I get what you're saying. It's just trying to work to constantly going up, right? I mean, it's we're all human. We all make errors, and it's easy to fall off track every once in a while. But yeah, it's just the realization that and the importance, recognizing the importance of hopping back on that mindset as quick as possible. So, Kaden, Dr. Kaden, you've written several books, haven't you? Do you have them? Do you have them with you by chance?
I got copies of them right here. I got I got about 3, 4 more I'm gonna publish. They already written and done. Just gotta I gotta
Wow.
land a better deal with a good publisher.
So yeah, show us each one. Maybe try to hold up a little bit closer. And right now it's a little blurry. It might when we release it, it shouldn't be as blurry. What's the
Okay.
name of your first one there?
The first one is Lost and Found, the Dark Testament. Lost and Found, the Dark Testament. When I wrote this, my name was legally Kason Cheeks. I changed my name legally. This one is called The Keys to Freedom.
Mm,
Subtitle: When You Get So Tired That You Can't Sleep. Um,
wow.
and this is this book covers the keys to financial freedom. What this is what I'm currently experiencing now. This is what I experienced when my life was dark, when I was,
Cool.
so yeah, man, these two books, and they right now there's a stage play that's been written based on this book. So in that stage play, I'll be acting as myself.
Really?
Yeah, it'll be getting performed in November 26th.
Man,
So
that's really cool.
yeah, it's a book is a seed, man. So you just never know. It's amazing to know that there's a stage play that's been written based on my story, and I'll get to
That
play
is.
myself in the play.
Man, that's fantastic. Make sure you keep me posted, and we'll make
Oh, I
sure to let
got
everybody
you.
know.
I got you.
Um, so, what's the best way for people to support you or reach out, or if they're interested in coaching services, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you, Kaden?
Right now, I don't offer. I don't offer pretty much online. Excuse me. I don't offer any coaching services. I own a boxing gym, and so most of the people who I mentor, the people at my gym. This year I'm getting my speaking um off the ground. I'm going with speaking full time. So at the end of this year, I'll have coaching services available. Right now,
Awesome.
I just, it's kind of like I'm gonna put myself out there. Winners will find me, and like I said, I don't care about super social media. I don't care about a website. I know the people that's meant to connect to me. I will connect to, and that's not from a sense of passiveness. Sometimes people talk like that because they ain't gonna take action. That's not my case. Right now, I'm at the phase, or not. My mindset from basketball is that winners win, and when you're a winner, people will find you. The and you'll put yourself in position to be seen. You understand? Like I knew, like
Yeah.
when I walked in the room with you, if you was one of the only ones I stayed in contact with, if you understand, I'll be
If
content with
right.
that because I could sense the winning energy. I was content with that.
Love
And
it.
that's how
Love
that's
it.
how that's how I am with speaking now. I got a speaking engagement next month in South Africa, and then
Oh, I saw
October
that. That'll be
I got a
awesome.
speak I got a speaking engagement in October in the Philippines. So just as of right now, I'm just getting myself out there, and before I focus on, I do have Facebook, and I do have.
So, Kaden, is it so? Kaden Lebray. I know we're friends, but is that how it's spelled at the bottom of the screen there? Kadenlebray, right? Kaden
Yes, sir.
Lebray.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Kaden Lebray.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, guys, Caden, he's the man. He's got this awesome energy, and I wish you could see how tall the guy was and how jacked he was because it's pretty awesome. But just an all around great dude. I would highly recommend reaching out or at least following him, to keep in touch and see maybe when he is coming close to you to be able to see him live, that kind of a deal. But Caden and I, we talked. If you've been listening to my show for a while now, you've probably heard me talk about Growth Group. It's a company that's going to be launching here very soon. And with that, we're going to be having like quarterly events, starting in Iowa, but then eventually around the country. And uh, Kaden and I, when we met at Speak Up, I made sure to tell him like, man, you're going to be a great candidate to speak on stage with me someday, and or to speak at our events. And you just, like I said earlier, you bring all this great energy and um, I just love everything that you speak on. It's high level mentality, and anybody that's trying to get better or grow or become their best self, which sounds so cliche, but it's still attainable. Uh, you know, Caden's the guy to follow and to pay attention to. So, Caden, dude, yeah, man. Thanks for coming on today. At the end of the show, I just always like to leave it open for my guests to kind of leave a comment or leave maybe call to action or challenge the audience to do something. Do you have anything that comes to mind that you would like to leave with our audience?
At this phase, at this time, the biggest area I'm challenging people is to show love, be fearless about.
Mm,
That's the fear to face now. Be fearless about loving people, be fearless about caring, be fearless about telling people you love them even if you don't know them. Be fearless
yeah.
about the discomfort that comes with that. Be fearless about loving yourself. Be fearless about the vulnerability that comes to walking up to a person and saying, you know what, I love you. And even if they look at you strange,
Mm,
say, well, I blessed another person today.
yeah.
Just be fearless
I
about
love it.
love. Just so every day, just that's what I'm on right now. So I would challenge everybody. Hold the door for somebody. Go up to somebody and just say thank you. You know, don't be corny. You don't just go, oh yeah, you're beautiful today, especially not if they ugly. Just tell them the truth. Find don't say if they ugly, don't say they're beautiful. Say they got nice clothes or something. Be honest, be genuine.
Yeah,
I'm
just
just
be genuine. Yeah.
and I'm
Love
just being
people.
real. Yeah, but don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid, and don't. Love is not when you give money. Love is not when you give cars. Love is not when you give clothes. It's love is expressed through the genuinity, through time exchanges. The level of genuinity that exists in a time exchange. So it can be 5 seconds of genuinity, but it's the stuff that's off the record. It's when you see the homeless person and you just hug him and leave. Don't sit there and talk to him. Leave him,
Yeah.
let him feel it.
Just
Yes,
let them know you love them. Wow. And that you're not trying to
yeah,
get anything out of them or anything
nothing.
like that.
Walk
Yeah.
off and make and don't and be okay with. Oh, I'm not looking for nothing from it. Yes, you are from God. Yes, don't front, don't lie. Oh, I'm not trying to get nothing out of it. Yes, you are. It may not be from the person, from God, and that's okay.
Yeah, right. Because you're being a disciple of Christ. You're going out and sharing love and dude, that's beautiful. That's believe it or not, I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but that's something I truly live by is just love one another. It's so simple. Like even from a young age, I remember sitting at like lunch and the cafeteria and like probably sophomore in high school and just all my buddies just roasting this kid, just like and I remember saying, guys, shut the fuck up. Like, what are you guys doing right now? Like, what makes you feel good about giving this guy a hard time? Like, are you insecure? Like, does it make you feel good when you get made fun of? Like, have you like? There's nothing fun about this. Like, quit belittling this person. And and it just goes back to just love one another. Just understand. Like, and one thing that I think is important to acknowledge is you don't know what's going on in these people's lives. You know, I mean, that was me. I remember when my parents were getting divorced. I was in like seventh grade. I remember going to school and just wanting to bawl my eyes out, just thinking to myself, wow, my parents aren't staying together. Like, this is sucks. Like, what's going to happen? The uncertainty of all that. And then I can't remember the specific incident, but, I was taller than everybody else. So, like, people would call me a giraffe and like all this stupid, stupid shit, right? You look back at it, you're like, what the fuck? But it bothered me. And it's like, and I'm actually now I'm grateful for it because it taught me through my own perspective that what it felt like to be taunted and felt and that's probably why I didn't make fun of people because I'm like, hey, I've felt that before in my life. It didn't feel good at all. Why the frick would I want to do that to other people? And it just goes back to loving each other, man.
Yeah. So I would challenge you, man. Show love day to day. And again, this is the rest of this year is about that for me. Just meeting people and look. Matter of fact, this whole year has been about that. That's why when we had that event, it was so much love for me. I was like, this is it. It's about being vulnerable in the love department. You understand? Love you, brother.
Yeah,
Love you, man. And and
damn
and
right,
that's okay. Even if the
damn
person
right.
say, well, you just met me. How could you love me? Because you're one of God's children. You're my brother, just like me, y'all. So you're a brother, you're a sister, just like me. I don't care about those beliefs. That's what
Yeah.
humans say. That's what other people say. God said you're my
Wow.
brother. That's the end.
So strong, man. I love it. Hey, Kaden, dude, thanks so much for coming on today. I feel like we could talk all day. There's just so many good things. I can honestly say I think this is one of the longer podcasts that I've had, which is amazing. So thanks for contributing so much today to the audience. And like we talked about 5-10 minutes ago, if anybody has, which I know people are going to want to reach out to Kaden, please do. Even if you're just looking for some advice or some ways to gain self assurance. I mean, he's a busy person, so he might not be able to get back to you right away. But don't feel like you can't send him a message or whatever. So um, awesome. Well, Kaden, unless you have anything else, I think we'll call her a day. Does that sound good to you?
Sounds good to me, man. Love y'all. love you, brother. It's good to see you. I
Hey
can't wait
man,
to
love
see
you
you
too.
again. And anybody this Mike Maloney, he's a great guy. I mean, shoot. It was good to be there seeing you speak. I can't wait to the show air. Make sure y'all go check him out because he's good at what he do, and he'll never ever let you down, especially along the lines of just mere fire compassion. He's gonna inspire some kind of action. He's gonna inspire something to move, and because of that, I'm drawn to him. So I'm hoping
Hell
that
yeah.
y'all to gauge him, whoever y'all are, gauge him in the same way because he's awesome. He's my brother, and I love him, and I love y'all. And until next time, um, I'll see y'all later.
Man, dude, Kaden, well, I got to make one more point, man. That's one of my favorite parts about this podcast. And first of all, thank you so much for all those kind words. I really do appreciate that. But the coolest thing about this podcast is that, like, my self assurance. I believe everything you just said. That's why I live my life. Like I am out there. That's my goal. I'm not perfect at it yet, and nor will I ever be. But I'm going to work my ass off to help inspire and motivate other people. But you know what's fucking amazing? Is you're the same way, and we're both on this show right now. And like, dude, the power and the energy and just everything about this is just magnificent. And I'm so excited. And it's just life is so wonderful. And man, God bless you. Thanks so much for coming on. I'll have you back on sometime soon. And dude, we'll keep in touch, brother. I love you so much, and thank you so much. All right, brother. Thanks, everybody. That was another episode of The Michael Maloney Show. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.